So, growing up, you probably heard your parents talk about saving money, saving for a house, for your education, for a car, or a vacation, you name it. Since then, you believed that having a lot of money in your savings account meant that you were rich. Well, fast forward to today, you just graduated from college, got yourself a job, and managed to save some money through your part time jobs and internships. But now you're earning a steady income, and you're supposed to figure out how to make the most of it. So, you do what you naturally know: you put money into your savings account. You feel secure and financially independent, and you can't wait to become more wealthy. But what if I told you that while you worked incredibly hard to save a good chunk of your paycheck, your savings account is actually losing you money? This sounds ridiculous, and I promise you that over the next 5 minutes, I'm not going to ask you to invest in any crypto or even give me your money. I'm simply going to take you through what a savings account really is, and then you can decide for yourself about what you want to do with your hard earned savings. Let's come back to the story. You live in Canada and just got out of college with $5,000 in your savings account. You managed to find a job right out of college that pays you a monthly salary of $3,000, and you're responsible, so you save 20% of your earnings, which is roughly $600 a month. You take a look at your savings account, and your bank promises you a 1% interest rate, so you do the math. In 10 years, after starting with just $5,000 and your monthly savings, you could have $81,000 in your account. Now that sounds amazing, but let's run that math again. You started with $5,000 and put in $7,200 every year, which is $600 a month, 12 times a year. In 10 years, you contributed $72,000 from your salary and $5,000 in the beginning, putting in a whopping $77,000 right out of your own pocket. Now, after considering your bank's interest rate, you only made about $4,000 in 10 years. Now, $4,000 over 10 years sounds stupid, but hey, at least you didn't lose that money on a shady crypto investment or a Ponzi scheme. Yet, going back to our calculations, we didn't cover two very important things: bank fees and inflation. Your bank is not a charity and they pay people to work for them, so in turn, they charge you a fee to keep things going. Now, fees may cost around $4 a month, which totals to about $50 a year. So in the 10 years that you paid the fee, you spent about $500. And it only gets worse. In the 10 years you were saving, you got hit with inflation. In simple terms, your cost of living went up each year because things just got more expensive. Let me give you an example. If you spend $400 on monthly groceries today, you can expect to be paying close to $500 for the same set of groceries 10 years from now, assuming the same inflation rate over recent history. Yet, inflation has risen to an extremely high rate. In the past, where Canada's inflation rate hovered around 2%, in 2022, we've seen rates near 7%. This is terrible for your savings. Factoring in bank fees and yearly inflation, your $81,000 drops to $76,000. In total, you've saved $77,000, so accounting for fees and inflation, you actually lost some money in those 10 years. That's negative growth. This is terrible, and you realize that the strategy your parents and many others like them followed is actually not that good at all. So what can you do to improve the growth of your money and protect yourself against rising inflation? I'm in no way a financial expert, so for this video, I partnered with Skyward Financial, a Vancouver-based investment company that provides free financial planning as well as investment and insurance management to their 60-plus clients. Take a look at what Curtis, their CEO, has to say.
So yeah, Hima, as you mentioned, bank fees and rising interest rates pose a risk to savers, wherever you live, whoever you are. But I'm not saying that savings accounts specifically are obsolete. In fact, they're really important. But if you're thinking about saving for things that are beyond your short-term goals, it'd be wise to actually invest your money in some capacity. So here at Skyward Financial, what we recommend are basketed investments, say mutual funds or ETFs. These big baskets of many different smaller investments inside of them that are going to grow gradually alongside with you for the long term. So in order to understand this concept of mutual funds and what they are, let's take a look at this graph. So here on this graph, you can see this bottom orange line here. This is what's called a low risk mutual fund. So you can see it has gradual, steady growth, but your money won't be growing as much as it could possibly with other mutual funds or other basketed investments. But you might see here with this middle red line, this is what's called a medium risk mutual fund. There's obviously more potential for growth, but there's also more fluctuations, more ups and downs of the market. Still, there's growth over time. And with a basket investment, there's no hitting the bottom. There's no going to zero. It grows steadily. With a medium risk mutual fund, you might have a bit more fluctuations. And obviously, with this top blue line here, you have really good growth potential, but also very deep fluctuations, very deep ups and downs. So obviously there's growth over time here, but those fluctuations are important to keep in mind. So the main question now is, what do I invest in? It's a really good question. So at Skyward Financial, our philosophy is to consider how much time you have. So let's say you have a short-term goal, say something you're saving up for in 1 to 3 years. We'd recommend putting aside money in a low-risk mutual fund. You might have a medium-term goal, maybe 3 to 5 years of a time horizon. And here we'd recommend a medium-risk mutual fund. So here you have a bit more time on your side. And here you might allow yourself a bit more fluctuations, a bit more growth potential too. And finally, let's say that you have a long-term goal, more than 6 years to grow your money. A high-risk mutual fund might be smart for you. So you have a long time horizon, 6+ years to let your money grow and let the average work itself out. So looking forward, there's a ton of investment options for you. Some that your banks might offer, some that your credit unions might offer. But your job, the difficult job, is to do the research and to select the specific fund that makes sense for you. We know that that's a scary job, so that's where we at Skyward Financial come in. So Skyward Financial is co-owned by myself and my partner Tara, and we're both financial advisors specializing in insurance and also investment. So here we can help you select the right mutual fund. We can help you select the right investment account that makes sense for you, and we can help you get that process started so it isn't so scary. We can bring more coherence to that investment journey and bring more coherence to your financial plan as a whole. So if you want to reach out to us, our website is skywardfinancial.org, and you can follow us on Instagram at skyward.financial. So we really hope to see you soon.
So there you go. That was our video on a savings account, and hopefully by now you understand the purpose of a savings account and why you should consider other ways of growing and keeping your money in the longer term. If you still have more questions, I'll link Skyward Financial's contacts in the description of this video, so you make sure you hit them up. Either way, thank you so much for tuning into the UBC podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video, and see you again in a bit.